Good afternoon to all of the aspiring, ambitious, and accomplished speakers out there. Now, I'm truly honored and humbled to be given an opportunity to make a public confession without the fear of repercussion. Thank you so much to Brother Muhammad Shukri, who's given me the liberty to confess from the comfort of my house instead of a witness stand. And, I hope, guys, that what I share with you today will inspire you to reciprocate or to reflect on your journey and have the courage to confess to yourself when you fall out of alignment with your values. So that someday, you too can confess in public and share your commandments or the wisdom gained from experience in order to inspire others. So here's my confession. We live in a culture where we are constantly assessing, acclimating, and adjusting in order to fit in, right? Now, in our genuine desire to please others or to be liked by them or never disappoint them, we desperately start seeking their acceptance, their appreciation, and approval. And in this process, it is easy to lose our true selves. Now, I'm reminded of one of William Shakespeare's plays, where Hamlet says to Ophelia, God has given you one face and you make yourself another. Now, my own competition journey in Toastmasters, it reflects the Faustian bargain I made by losing myself in the character of another. Now, I joined Toastmasters around 9 years ago, and it was straight out of intensive therapy for severe social anxiety disorder due to post-9/11 Islamophobic attacks. Now, in my first year in Toastmasters, with my fifth speech, I competed in the international speech contest at club level. And guess what was my speech about? How to overcome severe social anxiety disorder using psychotherapeutic skills. Now, that doesn't sound like much of a world champion speech, does it? Well, I didn't join Toastmasters to become a champion speaker. I joined Toastmasters to overcome my fear of people. And, guys, if my club president had not tricked me into competing, I wouldn't in my wildest dreams have done it. To my surprise, I reached the district level where I was competing against 5 men. Most of them had competed before. In fact, one of them had won district 3 times. So this was going to be his 4th year. And he had all of the hallmarks of a winning speech, both in structure and in delivery. And I'm sure that he was confident of another victory. And then I walked on stage with my project number 5 from the CC manual, Your Body Speaks. And boy, did my body speak. I couldn't shut it up. In fact, towards the end of my speech, I actually stretch my hand out and I say, look, guys, my hands are shaking. My jaw is rattling, my body is twitching, and I can barely make eye contact with you all. But the only reason I'm here today is because of something I learned in intensive therapy, which is the actions of confidence come first, the feelings come later. Now, believe it or not, there wasn't a single dry eye in the audience. When I won that district contest in 2012, the wife of that man who had won for 3 consecutive years, she came up to me and she said, you know what? My husband had a perfect speech, but you spoke to us. You were raw and you were real, and that is why we connected with you. So my top competitor's wife became my biggest cheerleader. Authenticity is the currency of connection and the consequence of vulnerability. Thus, we cannot be real unless we are raw. Now, from that year forward, I was on a mission to win the World Championship of Public Speaking. because I thought to myself that, if I can win the district without any practice or guidance, imagine how well I'll do after rigorous mentoring and training. But I paid a price. Under the tutelage of world champion speakers and mentors, I heeded every suggestion in an effort to polish and perfect my performance. And yet I kept losing at district level year after year. And then soon I realized that the more I perfected my speech, the less I connected with the audience. In our desire to adopt skills, we adapt the styles of others. And when authenticity is faked and vulnerability is forced, we are no longer on a path to becoming a better version of ourselves. We are trying to become a better version of everyone else. Now, when I took a U-turn in my journey and went back to being true to myself, I brought all of the skills along, but I left the styles behind. And as for their suggestions, basically, I applied what fit and I respectfully rejected what didn't. Guys, filtering feedback is only possible once you become confident and comfortable with your own style. And to realize your style, you ask yourselves, what makes you unique? Now, in Toastmasters, you can often tell which champions contestants were coached by, right? Because they try to mimic their mentors' winning styles, isn't it? And yet, year after year, the one who wins the esteemed world championship title is the one who trusts his or her unique style. So while you're studying the speech of this year's winner, who enthralled the audience with his fabulous prose and his flawless use of the virtual platform, I just want you guys to remember one thing. Learn those skills, but leave the style. Now, going back to my story, when I took my skills and style outside of Toastmasters and became an advocate, an activist, and a peacemonger, I could see how being raw and real, and now refined by experience, it had the power to inspire lives and influence change. And when I came back to compete in Toastmasters last year, I was advised to avoid sensitive subjects like religion and politics. But I was confident in my ability to generate empathy, since I now had the skills, I had the style, and I had the experience to be sensitive while addressing sensitive subjects. I finally won the district contest after 7 years with a speech about religion and politics. So, today, whether in Toastmasters or outside of the arena, I only give speeches that come from the depths of my heart in order to reach the hearts of others. The audacity of authenticity requires us to bare our souls and to reveal our true selves to others. Remember, people will connect with your struggles more than your success. So don't be afraid to share your most raw and real stories. And if you're concerned about whether people will relate to you, just remember that we share stories to generate empathy, right? And empathy has nothing to do with similar experience. It's about shared emotions. So, for example, my raw and real experience of post 9/11 Islamophobic attacks, if that changed my life and can inspire others, then I need to share the emotions I felt at that time to enable my audience to reflect back on their lives and recall incidents in their lives where they experienced similar feelings. Audacity means being honest with ourselves, having the courage to be vulnerable, and speaking about things that affect us deeply. So, yes, we do live in a culture where we may feel compelled to constantly change colors like a chameleon to match others' expectations of us. And yet, um, guys, nothing feels more empowering and more liberating than being true to ourselves. Allowing ourselves to be fully seen and being unapologetically authentic takes audacity. It requires us to gently, yet repeatedly, keep reminding ourselves that when God has given you one face, why make yourself another? So that is my confession. Shukran, and over to you, Brother Shukri.